Good afternoon and welcome to our Prove It campaign. Today we are doing our Green Bag Luncheon conversations. We're so excited to be able to bring this topic to you. We first want to thank our sponsors, the ET Community Organization. Thank you for sponsoring this wonderful educational opportunity so that we can educate the African American community about electric vehicles and environmental justice issues and just the policies that are going to impact our community as we move forward. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Miss Valerie Onoha. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it right.
All right. Valerie is a wealth of knowledge, and she's also an assistant civil engineer. Say that 5 times fast. With Valley Water, and she's going to talk to us today about STEM education and green jobs. And so, with that, Valerie, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Selena. Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Onoha. I am a civil engineer at Santa Clara Valley Water District, which is located in San Jose. So just to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I graduated from UC Davis in 2014 with a bachelor's in civil engineering, civil and environmental engineering, actually. And now I'm pursuing my master's at Santa Clara University, located in Santa Clara, so basically getting my master's in civil engineering with a focus in management. And so like Selena said, I am an assistant engineer. So I basically deal with design work, planning, and also oversee some construction activities with our pipelines at Valley Water. Basically, these are pipelines that are going from our reservoirs. These are our raw water pipelines, recycled water pipelines, treated water pipelines that gets delivered to your homes or gets delivered to our groundwater. So those are just some of the things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I'm really glad to talk about my experience and talk about green jobs. So I'm really thankful for Selena and those from the Prove It campaign for reaching out to me and my organization to talk about the importance of STEM education, especially with regards to minorities, with regards to Black, brown people, basically our people. So just to give you guys a little bit of my background, I got involved in the STEM field at a very early age. And the person who I want to thank for is my mother. She pushed me and my siblings to go into the STEM fields, knowing that it's an important aspect of this society and knowing that it's something that will basically set her children up for life. So when I was basically in the 4th, 3rd grade, I was involved in many different programs that dealt with STEM education. And when I say STEM education, I mean science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. One of the organizations that I was a part of at a young age was called Green Scholars. And so that was particularly geared towards Black students, geared towards introducing them into the STEM fields, introducing them to STEM educators, STEM people in career, doing science experiments, learning about our culture and how we impact the STEM field as well. So I got some inspiration from people like Macy Jemison, who was the first African-American female astronaut. And then, of course, George Washington Carver, who was actually really instrumental with science in terms of finding different ways and different inventions that uses peanuts. And so those core people were people who basically inspired me to continue going into that field of STEM, science and engineering. And so also I was involved in, like I said, a lot of stuff. So I was also involved in a program called SMASH, which was it was the Summer Institute or honors program for minority students, so that it can prep students for college, and especially to inspire them in the field of science, technology, and engineering. And so with that, I was able to basically find my foundation on higher education. And so that was one thing that kind of propelled me into continuing to pursuing science, and also provided me with a really set structure on how to survive in college, because that's basically where a lot of us falls off is higher education. I believe there's trying to remember some statistics, but when African American students pursue STEM careers in college, we basically fall off on that. Sometime during college, whether or not we're not having a really great foundation or a really great support system, a lot of us will no longer pursue these STEM fields and go on to different fields that are non-STEM. And so I would like to say that having a support system that really helped me.
And that's evidenced by the numbers and the kind of how Black and brown people are underrepresented in the green job space, correct?
Yes. So I believe there's only, for African Americans, we only represent around 11% of people who are in the STEM fields. And that's probably even lower for people who are inside the green jobs. And so basically, when we're not really having that foundation of support or having those resources that other people have, whether or not it's connections to other industries or connections to our teachers, that can falter us inside those fields.
So let me ask you a question, because you just threw me for a loop, and I might ask you a lot of questions because this is an educational forum. Is there a difference between STEM and green? STEM jobs, green jobs. What's the difference?
So green jobs pertains to being more environmentally conscious. So those are jobs, whether or not it's your environmental planners, people who help make sure to see how human activities affects our environment, or recycling, those, or basically sustainability. So dealing with wind, solar, hydro power, that's green jobs. But STEM is not, there's not really a difference. Green job is a part of STEM. So when I'm saying STEM, it's science. So green jobs require science. It's engineering. So green jobs require people to solve these problems in terms of how to solve our climate change, or how to deal with our climate change, how to deal with making sure that we have more cleaner energy. That's engineering and technology. Mathematics is basically coming up with these statistics on showing the trends of how we're going, how we're perceiving. All of that is encompassed inside our green jobs. So there's not really a difference. I would like to say that STEM or green jobs is encapsulated into STEM.
Okay. That was a good answer.
Thank you. I practiced.
So if I'm interested in STEM jobs or in the green job space, how would I go about getting involved? I heard you talk about several programs. I know that we've spoke earlier, and I want to give a shout out to your mom. Thank you for letting her pursue her career and be an engineer and not a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Even though a pharmacist would have been good too. But then we probably wouldn't be talking today. So thank you, Mom. Shout out to you. So a lot of the programs that I've heard about in the STEM education space for young people cost money. Are there any programs that you know of out there that don't cost money? And then a follow-up to that question is, what do you think is the best way to keep people engaged in those educational opportunities, so that we are building a pipeline and creating more workers in the green job space? Because we talked about being underrepresented in that space. So how do we do that? Where do we start? And how would you create a pipeline to continue that?
Yeah. So for me, it started at a young age, but really it doesn't really matter. You can start now in terms of getting involved. The programs that I was involved in were basically restricted to folks who were in elementary school, middle school, and high school. And there are some that you have to pay for, but I think a program that I mentioned was called SMATCH, which was, let me get the acronym for you guys here. That is a summer math and science honors academy. So I'm giving you guys a little plug there because I'm part of the alumni for that. So again, that's Summer Math and Science Honors Academy. That is a free program and it's geared towards minorities. It's geared towards the Black, Brown, Pacific Islander, Asian communities. And that program it really helped me because it helped me in terms of knowing how to continue on with college, how to continue on with higher education. And so, like I said, that's a free program. You have to test for it, but it's now open in multiple locations. So originally it was in UC Davis, not UC Davis, it's in UC Davis now, but it was originally started at UC Berkeley. And so I was part of the UC Berkeley campus and I was involved in there for 3 years. And now it's branching out to different colleges all over the US. And so what this program is that it's a summer program, but it also goes throughout the year. Students who are selected into it, they will stay on a university campus for, I think, about 6 to 10 weeks during the summer. And so during that time, you are going through classes. You are going to science classes. You are going to math classes. You're going to classes that are meant to expose you to people in the STEM fields. You go to field trips to different industries. And so, yeah, I just want to plug that program in there because that is a free program for people. But it's normally starts during high school. So you're doing this for people who are out there who have kids or for people who are kids now in high school. This is a good program to get involved in, and you should try to apply for that while you're in high school.
Now, we know the governor signed an executive order that California will be a zero emissions vehicle state by 2045. And so the connection here is if you're a high school student in 2045, there's going to be even before then, but right now, I mean, there's going to be some jobs in EV that open up in the electric vehicles. I almost said the wrong word. And the electric vehicles that open up a lot of jobs for our young people. Can you give us some ideas of what jobs are available in EV and then the wider STEM education or the STEM area?
Yeah, so with the electric vehicles, you have to know more about like the battery powers and know how that can provide an impact to the overall performance of the vehicle and impact to the environment. So with that, the jobs that are involved in that, you have your chemists who are doing the science research and doing experiments. You have your engineers, whether or not it's your mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. And then you also have software developers. So it's not just engineering, but people who are involved in software and computers. Those are the type of fields that are really involved with the electric vehicle industry. And then I want to also plug, because without electric vehicles, without roads, you don't have like vehicle passage. So you also have, because I'm a civil engineer. So you have civil engineers, people who deal with road constructions, bridges. You have those people involved inside that one particular product. And so what's involved in that is, one, you have to have the training for it. So a lot of these jobs, whether you're an engineer or scientist, those require higher education or some kind of technical education. So a lot of these jobs will require your bachelor's degree. And like I said earlier, within the Black community or Black students, we tend to fall off on that because we go into these majors and then we see that there's not that much support, or we see that how difficult some of these are because they require a lot of thinking. And then so sometimes without the support system in place, some of us will falter.
Now let's bring them back on. Let's get them to come back on. Tell us, what is the starting salary in a STEM occupation?
Give
me just pick one. Pick
Yeah, I could
yours.
talk to more myself, or for some people in civil engineering. I know for a lot of us, starting salaries can range somewhere between, I want to say, around like $75 to $90,000 per year. I have friends who were involved in computer, or actually software, whose base salary was 90,000. These are people who went to Intel. So these are friends from college who went to Intel, friends who went to other software industries. And those are high paying jobs. And it's sad that there's not that much of us represented inside those industries.
So how do we get people to take advantage? Like, is there some kind of support group, support network? Like the way I found you is that, well, you could tell us what they do at Valley Water and what they have at Valley Water.
Yeah, so at Valley Water, one thing I want to really shout out is how they are really promoting diversity and inclusion at Valley Water. And one way we do that is through employee resource groups. So I'm going to give a plug out to the Association of Black Employees at Valley Water. We are basically a set of employees who are focused on promoting Black employees at the district, and also recognizing the struggles that we had from before in terms of employment. So having these resources, and when I say resources, these groups of people who can provide insight of what they've been through, or provide insight in terms of becoming mentors, or basically providing resources that are out there in the community, that really helps retain us at the district, or retain us not just at the district, but overall. So I want to also put a plug, 100 Black Men and 100 Black Women. There's other societies, other organizations out there for people to look into, that also helps in terms of career development, or helps in terms of providing a support system. So these are places that can provide help in terms of resume building, in terms of leadership development, in terms of communication skills, providing the non-technical skills that all industries require, but
Right.
also showing the importance of maintaining the course, or maintaining, or still, I want to say, the importance of us being represented in those fields that lacks us. So I would say that those support systems has really helped me in terms of sticking with my field, and staying in my field, helping me be inspired and aspire to continue on.
That's dope. I love that. I love talking to people and being exposed to people that look like me. It's just different. It just gives a different kind of feel for it. And so I want to encourage any parents out there, grandparents who are watching this stream, get your kids involved in this stuff, because I noticed too, in the education system in K through 12, there's a underrepresentation of us in STEM classes and honors classes.
Mhm.
And so we need to really make sure that we are giving our students the best that we can give them, so that they can succeed and take advantage of the resources that are out there for them, and really look into, everybody's not going to be a football player or a basketball player or a doctor or a lawyer. Some people aren't going to go to college. What I love about what you're talking about, Valerie, is that you can be certificated, and maybe you don't want to do a four-year university, but you can get a certificate and still get a pretty good high-paying job in the STEM field, in EV specifically. And so I thank you for raising that point and for shining the light on that. I'm so excited. I want to give a shout out to Rick Callender for introducing us. He's an awesome man. If anybody look him up, he's a really great great guy, and he's been a great mentor and resource to me. But is there anything else you want to share? And also to our audience, if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to put them in the chat. And we will answer them to the best of our ability. But is there anything else that you wanted to say just about your experience, about STEM jobs, green jobs, anything about the energy grid? I've heard some stuff about the grid and how there's, not enough power and we're trying to figure it out and all these different things. Is there anything that you want to kind of shine a light on?
Yeah, so I would say that I'll touch back on your point on how we're not represented inside these classes. So I did a lot of AP courses in high school, and most of the time I was the only Black girl or Black person in that class. And that also goes to the time when I was at UC Davis doing my bachelor's. There were times when I was one of 3 Black people in a class, or one Black person in a class. So really, really shows how somewhat sad it is that there's not that many of us represented inside those education sides. But then to talk on the terms of going back to the electric vehicles and green jobs, I would say that I was trying to do like a little bit of research here and there. So I wasn't sure if a lot of us are aware. I'm talking about the federal side of basically our current administration. So Biden's infrastructure plan, which is a $3 trillion plan to improve our infrastructure. And it's also meant to incorporate or introduce, I believe, around $10 million, not $10 million, 10 million new jobs dealing with the STEM field and green jobs. And so, so there is a lot of job openings coming up in terms of the STEM field. And also in terms of, and when I say STEM field, that also includes green jobs as well. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities. It's just that we have to be proactive in trying to reach out for those.
Exactly. I know the state of California also put, the governor has a large budget item that he presented in the May revise, or proposed in the May revise, towards the clean cars and clean air and zero emission vehicles. And we're preparing to hit that 2045 mark. So people, pay attention. This is coming. We have to be a part of this conversation. If they say you can no longer drive a combustible engine a car, what are we going to do? We have to be a part of these conversations and look at the policies that are being introduced, and make sure that we're there to say, wait a minute, this is going to impact my community. Because I'm going to be honest, driving through different parts of Sacramento, I've never seen a charging station in a hood. I've never seen one. If they say, well, we're not going to register gas cars anymore, what are we going to do? We have to be prepared to either, be educated and empowered to have these conversations and say, hey, this is going to impact my community and we can't do it like this, or we're going to have to be prepared to comply with the law, and they're giving us time to do it. 2045 seems like a long ways. I mean, it's how many years? 23 years did we say it was? I don't know. I'm not a math major, but it's 20 plus years away. And so we need to really be sure that, we're a part of this conversation and that we're educating our community about these opportunities that are coming available, and the policies that are being implemented. Looks like we have a couple of more minutes. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else that you want to say? Do you want to admonish the people to...
I'm not admonishing. Don't want to admonish. I just want to encourage. I'm just going to use the word encourage instead. Encourage people to look out for those opportunities. Encourage parents, whether or not you have to be a helicopter parent or whatever, to get your kids involved. Again, I know I only talked about the programs I did, but there are other programs that might be free. I think there was one, I think I told you, Selena, that was Upward Bound. I think that's a federal, that's another program that can help kids, not just in the STEM field, but also to help support them to be aware of the college life and college expectations. Yeah, but there are many other programs I'm pretty sure that are free out there for people to take advantage of. It's just that we're not really exposed to them. So my final words is just to be on the lookout for new opportunities and be aware that we need to have a seat at the table as well. And in order for us to have a seat in the table, we have to be pursuing those goals, pursuing those majors. So those are my final words. Sorry, my glasses are falling off because I'm so passionate, but but just want to say thank you. Thank you, Selena, for inviting me on this topic. So thank you.
I love it. Thank you for accepting the invitation. And with that, we will see you guys next week for our next Green Bag Luncheon. We will be talking about rider and car acceptance and charger anxiety, which is a very serious challenge that we need to be discussing. So get involved. We're going to educate. We're going to empower, and we are going to engage and make sure that we have a seat at this table so that we can also be a part of the policies when they are being discussed, not after the fact. So thank you for joining us. We will see you next week and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.